Hey guys, welcome to another voiceover. My name is Sakumi-chan, and for this term's voiceover, I'm going to be drawing akali, and it's been quite a bit of time since I've last drawn League fan art, so this is gonna be fun. And akali is like one of those characters that I've drawn a few times, so I kind of like her, and she has that aesthetic that I like to draw. So yeah, as you can see, I've already aligned and then filled them in with colors. So this time my line art is kind of rough because I'm not really planning to keep the lines that visible anyway, so I thought I'd just leave them kind of messy. And so the idea. Oh, and also, yeah, this is kind of like a modified version of her weapon because her weapon isn't actually like that. But since I had this idea in mind for her pose, that's why the weapon became like this. All right. All right. So the background, I wanted to do like a Summoner's Rift first person view. And yeah. I'm gonna make this into a mini mini comic. Um, so it's not that dynamic. The posing is not super like actiony. It's a bit more static, but I try to make it a little bit dynamic with a bit of angle tilt to the canvas, which usually does the trick. But without further ado, let's get started. As you can see, I got the base color down. I even colored in the eye color and lips and whatnot. I do need to give her a mask later on, but for now, let's see what we can do. Uh, okay. So instead of doing the usual steps of using multiply, I'm going to do something different. So I've been testing out different ways of rendering, which I like to do, find different ways of kind of shading just to kind of make my brain not be bored, basically. It's hard to explain, but if I keep using the same method of rendering, sometimes I get a little bit uninspired, so I try to change it up a little bit. So this is kind of like how I used to do with Photoshop. So we are going to use the lasso tool, um, and then we're going to use that to help us shade. But first, I have to figure out where the lighting's coming from. So probably from above, but then from which side? Um, let's do from above first. So the sunlight is above, so shadow towards the bottom, and then we have highlight towards the top. So that is the main kind of pattern we're gonna go with, and that's gonna be for now. Okay, so this is the first. I'm gonna remove the weapon for now. So this is the first blocking of the shadow that I have in mind. So we are going to create a new layer, clip it down. Let's go airbrush. And then we are going to, let's see, maybe we'll use this color for shadow. So this is gonna be our shadow. I find using this way I can easily kind of change up the shadow, and I don't have to worry about kind of painting outside of the lines, stuff like that. And maybe this is a bit too warm in terms of shadow color, so I can change the color itself somewhat. And then with the actual skin tone, maybe I can also play around with the tone itself. Let's go hue saturation, change it up a bit. And then I'm going to revise. So now I'm going to go into the finger and basically do a really quick like selection of the parts I want to make darker. But first I have to put the layer back into normal so I know the exact color that I use for the shadow. And then put that down. And there we go. And then after that, I can do a quick bit of rendering or actually just add on shadow. And I am still using airbrush and the lasso tool. And this makes things really quick just for blocking purposes. And then I'm going to use the lasso tool again just to block in that space, airbrush in whatever is needed. So I'm going to keep this layer not merged down just yet. I'm going to go to the top, her top layer now, and then I'm going to basically do the same thing I did here. This is tricky. I'm just trying to figure out where to place the shadow. Okay. Let's do with this color. So I'm just trying to shade her top to her chest. I'm aiming for like that sexy like fabric on cloth type of look. Going back to my origin days. Okay. Do a little bit of rendering, not too much. And I'm gonna lock in the layer, airbrush once again. I want to go with a slightly warmer tone inside the shadow, but I guess that is not working as well as I'd hoped. But that's okay, I'll fix it up. Okay, merge down. I want to darken this a bit more. And then really make the highlight a bit more obvious by enhancing the lighting on top, on that top portion there. We'll go into glove and legging so I can do a quick shading of this. Okay, so the leg part is a little tricky. I did have a reference for that. It was this figure that I found. Oh, hopefully I can find it again. Okay, here we go. It's a figure. Let's see what it's called. It is called. It's actually an original character. And it's a figure by Native who's notorious for making not safe for work, busty, like those type of anime figures. And yeah, looking at those figures is pretty good for referencing, I'd say, for pinups especially. So yeah, it's one of those figures that I'm using for the leg bend. Okay, so with the reference at hand, I'm going to, okay, the reference lighting is different from what I have. Ooh, but that's okay. We are going to still try our best. So first, lower the whole underside of the leg. Switch back to airbrush, and I'm going to use airbrush for this. I'm going to bring in a slight bit of warmth for the underside of the shadow because I find that the general highlight is quite cool in tone, so we have to see what we can do to balance it out, and we can do that by using a bit of warm tone. So just by doing this, I'm also going to try to render it out slightly, still with the airbrush, which is pretty good for just quick blocking rendering wise. And I will just do this. So now we can see the shape taking form, but still I think we need a bit more contrast, especially the other leg. We have to make sure that both of the legs, read as separate legs and not clumped together, which it was kind of looking clumped together because of the shading was very monotone and there wasn't any clear difference in the tones of the shadow, so it looked muddled, and that's why I increased the intensity or the contrast of the other leg so that this leg can also stand out. Now we are going to move on to the glove section, and then we are going to basically grab the underside of the glove, and similarly I'm going to use brightness contrast, quickly darken it up, go back to airbrush, and we are going to reuse whatever we did for the legging, because why not, it's already there, so we're gonna go ahead and use that. Then I guess I'll put a bit of folds around the gloves. Actually no, we shouldn't put too many folds because then it will look loose, and I'm going for a tight kind of look for the glove. So I'm going to go ahead and make the other side of the make the other glove darker, or actually have more contrast. And then maybe a little bit here. And then I'm going to go up here and increase the highlight color, make it brighter to emphasize where the lighting is coming from. And also I have to remember to kind of refer back to the akali reference. So obviously this outfit is not the canon version of her outfit, but I will try to bring in elements from her original outfit into this variation so that, it's a bit more recognizable. Right now it is not really how it's supposed to look, but that's what makes it fun. I mean, pinup is fun because you get to do whatever you want, basically. Alright, now we are going to do the draping, which is this part. I don't think there will be too much rendering on that side, but I'm just going to quickly use the airbrush to give some highlight / shadow. Okay, so drape done, and then I want to quickly add some shadow to the rope. So I am once again using the lasso tool to do this. Quickly make it a little darker. And then I want to add, we want to add some sort of rim light towards the bottom of the rope. This is kind of just to make the shadow less harsh. And you'll see I guess you could call this subsurface scattering in 3D in 3D rendering. And you'll see that a lot in 3D renders that look really good, like the Disney Pixar 3D stuff. And you'll notice that some other 3D movies don't look as good because they don't have this. Well, they don't have it as much. But yeah, I use quite a bit of Disney 3D rendering as references for shading stuff, so I kind of just kept that in mind for my other stuff too. But yeah, it's not too detailed. She has a satchel in the back or like a carrier. A carrier that has bombs in it, but we are not gonna get that detailed because this is not exactly. This is like not safe for work stuff, so I can be a little lazy with the design. Okay. So now that we have shaded her outfit slightly, we can go back to the skin now. Okay. Once we go back to the skin, I guess I could merge down first, and then let's see, maybe I could add a bit more shadow in certain parts. Make some of the areas just a little bit darker. I haven't touched the face yet because the face is on a separate group. But yeah, we're gonna wait for the saving. Okay, there we go. Still trying to figure out how I want to shade the chest part. There's just so much ways to shade everything. Well, I just go through a few patterns. So we'll start with this one. Doesn't look very good, but I'm gonna see if I can make it look better later. For now, I just want to quickly blend it. I'm using the watercolor brush, smooth watercolor. It's like the basic one. It's always the basic brushes that are awesome. Well, at least in my experience. Okay. Let's quickly go to the head. And then, okay. Then I have to think about this. For the face, how am I going to shade it? Because the face itself is usually like a whole different thing that you have to do. Because there's a lot of little details in there. So first, I guess I'll start off with the hair shadow. That's an easy one. If your character has hair covering their face, we can always put a bit of drop down shadow, which usually makes things look better. And now, time to decide where the shadow's gonna go. So I could, okay, let's go this side. So we are gonna put shadow on this side, like this. And I'm just mapping out where that shadow might be. Once that's done, create a new layer clip, airbrush mode. I'll just start adding first batch of shadow, and real quick I'll just kind of look at the small preview and see, like, does this shadow make sense? It could make sense. It could, but I guess I want to try something. It could make sense if I maybe added shadow like this. Kind of implying like this hand is casting shadow on her top and stuff. Like that. Let's do darken. Mm, okay. I'm gonna test out a few things. Let's darken that area a bit more. So now I'm going to zoom out real quick, see how the shading is coming, if it makes sense or not. And since this is on a separate layer, I could always go back. So I guess, I mean, it's not too bad. Maybe if I render out the face a bit more, it's gonna start making more sense. So I will start by adding in some shadow for the eyes. And should I commit to this face? Or maybe I could bring the shadow over more. Okay, let's try this. And just to finish it off, I'm going to quickly render out the hair. If I do that, let's add some basic shading. If I do that, that might help me with deciding about the direction for the highlights and shadows. So quickly, I added in some highlight light source. Oh, and I also forgot the the main light source was supposed to come from the top, which I totally forgot while working on this. So we need a bit of highlight towards the top of the hair, like that. And then with that done, I am going to select the opposite direction where we are going to darken, and that is our shadow area. And then I'm going to move into the hairband real quick. Do the usual, do a quick shadow. And this is gonna be our base for that. And not too bad. And then real quick, weapon shading. Ooh, I am not liking this right now. I didn't really take too much time on this. That's why it looks kind of like lazy. But we can see if we can make it look better later by rendering it out and whatnot. But, you know, people are not going to be looking at the weapon. Well, most people won't be looking at the weapon too much. So I think I can probably get away with being a little lazy on the weapon. Okay, so maybe a little bit of shadow like this, and then I'll go in and render out the hilt and stuff later. So this is what we have. And all right, since we have some basic shadow slash highlight to work from, we can go in and start rendering. But first I have to figure out where this dot is, which layer. There we go. Okay, now I'm gonna take this and basically apply it to all the layers. Oh shoot, hold on. I did not copy the right layer. Okay, so it's this layer that I need to copy. Copy, paste, paste. No, wait, what? Okay. Copy. There we go. Make sure I add that effect to all the layers. So now that that's done, I guess I'll slowly transition out of the aligns. So I'll lower it a little bit more, and then we'll start with the skin. So for the skin, using airbrush, I'll slowly render it out. Let's go ahead, add a bit of shine, and then maybe later on I have to probably play around with the skin tone. Right now it looks kind of flat to me, but that's just probably I'm used to using more than one tone in the skin, and sometimes that doesn't fit the comic style, I'll have to be honest. Like, yeah, there's a specific aesthetic for that. Okay, but for now, I'm gonna try to focus on just rendering it out in a plum way. I could probably also try to see if I can switch up the skin tone a little bit. Let's see, I could do this. Color correction, color balance. Clip it down below, and then we can play around with the skin tone or whatnot. Let's do this color, merge down, and then I have to figure out the secondary tone for this. So we'll make the shadow more on the purple-ish side, dark purple / warm tone for the more dark shadow. And then the rest, we just render it. Still don't know how I'm gonna shade this part. What if I do this? For the chest part. So we have the highlight light source, and then the rim light or the highlight inside the shadow for the breast underneath, and then we'll just blend it. Yeah, the important part is I want to make it look heavy. Alright, so this is what we got. We have to now go to the top, and then I'm gonna try to see if I can render the top to accommodate the skin that I just rendered out. And we are gonna go with a slightly warmer green for this part. Hopefully it works out. Okay, continue to render it out. Let's go ahead and do the same underneath here. Go here. Actually, we'll do it this way, add a bit more contrast. Okay. After I increase the contrast, I'll take the color that came from that edit and I'm going to use it on the rest of her top using the lasso tool. I'm going to isolate certain areas. Oh, why is it so dark? Okay. This part might be a bit too harsh. So we'll try our best to ease that up and stuff. Okay. Go to the drape. Oh no, that's top. Go to the drape. And then we'll do the same thing. I'm going to just use the watercolor smooth and blend it. Grab this color. I'll grab the highlight color and I'm going to just place them in areas that is supposed to have some intense lighting. Glove and licking time. So for the glove and licking, I'm flipping the canvas so that I can, oh god. Okay, waiting for the program to autosave. Flip the canvas so it matches the reference so I can just look back at it. Using the airbrush, I'm going to start rendering it. Rendering it sort of similar to how I see it. Something like this. That's not too bad actually. So after that's done, I'm shading it slightly. Let's go back to the watercolor real quick, add some shine to the sole of her shoe. So I'm going for that Naruto Tola shoe look. I think that's how I had her too in my other pinup of Akali. So I'm reusing that idea. Let's go ahead and use the lasso tool. So now I have the legging rendered more or less. I'm going to go ahead, play around with the contrast of it all. Merge down, create a new layer. I made everything a lot darker so that I can go back and add the highlight. And I'll just kind of add the highlights bit by bit. Using the lasso tool. There we go. Okay, it's starting to get there, so I'm just stacking on them highlights. Bring it down to her shoe. Add some highlight. I guess this leg won't be very visible really with the weapon in front and all that. Okay, I think that should be good. I have to rework the leg now. So after I rendered out the leggings, I have to now go back to the legs and re-render that out to match what we have going on. Oh, whoops, wrong brush. Okay, go back with the airbrush. This time, actually maybe I'm tempted to keep it kind of flat looking like this. I mean, keep the shading looking flat like this. Maybe I'll add a tiny bit of shadow. Okay, otherwise I'll try to match the legging shadow. Let's go ahead and use a little bit of this. A very dark shadow on the purplish side for just to match up with the leg. Let's grab a little bit of this. Add a little bit of highlight in the center and then add some drop down shadow from the drape. Alright, merge down. So now I did the leg, we can kind of just do the other parts. I'm gonna quickly do her toes. Well, whatever is visible, but I'm usually not that picky on the toes or feet in general, but I think I should probably draw more feet. Okay, did that real quick, kind of rough, but you know, her feet is not really the focus of this piece. So I'll just move on to another part. Her waist, slowly but surely, I'll work my way up. We are going to add contour to her silhouette. Let's grab this color real quick, put it under her belly button. And last but not least, this part. Yeah, the boob is probably the most important part of this piece, other than the face. So I have to make sure to get this right, and I think I might have to sort of remove this line so I can, and also the belly button. Remove several lines actually, so we can separately render it out. And then fix these missing patches of pixels. Rotate. Go back to this. I'm going to add a little fold here. I'll try to remove this part. I will probably try to render out the armpit and stuff bit by bit, and also we have to render out the rope too. Otherwise it'll be kind of confusing. Okay, so I'm on the rope layer and I'll just quickly try to do a render for it. Same with here. Grab this color, that is the highlight on top of the rope, so we'll do that, and then I'm gonna grab a really dark color and then I'll just put it where the arm is overlap on top of the rope and then blend it out. Next up, I'll use the lasso tool to select those edges and make the highlight pop. Delete. I'll be fixing the silhouette along the way. Go back here. So now I'll go back to the skin and see if I can do a bit more rendering now that everything is a little bit cleaner. Let's grab this color. Grab this color, bring it up into her shoulder. Merge down. Grab this. I'm going to use the liquify tool to move it around to see if I can find like a better positioning maybe. If I can. Oh my god, it looks so big now. But I kind of like it. Although I know it looks a little flat. Oh, back it goes. I'll just be dragging this around a few times and looking at the small preview and trying to figure out what ratio looks good. I mean, the highlight to shadow ratio. Let's flip. Look at it like that. I don't know. Sometimes I'm pretty indecisive on these stuff. Oh, I guess actually, when stuff happens like this, I sometimes scrap the whole thing and try something new. So let's do it this way. Let's do shadow like this, where the arm is casting shadow on top of her chest. And then end up looking like this. Would that work? Let's give it a try. Grab a bit of highlight on top of her arm here. I mean, it's not too bad actually. Let's modify the top to fit what we change on the skin. So I'll do it like this. There. Something like that. That's not too bad. And then I'll just add in a bit. Actually, no. Let's do it like this or something. And then we'll bring down the highlight maybe. No, wait, should I? No. I'm trying to figure out that ratio of highlight slash shadow based on what looks good, basically. Maybe like this. Yeah, I think maybe this will work better. So now that I've did a quick correction, I'm going to refine it. And then after refining it, we shall see if this was the right choice. Alright, picking up the watercolor blending tool. I'm blending, blending, blending. I probably need a bit of shadow towards the side here. And I need to figure out how I'm going to render the armpit part out. Let's do it like this. Use the lasso tool here. Put it underneath the rope. Let's grab a little bit of this color. Grab a bit of this. And in general, I'll just shade, try to shade it, and then while looking at the small preview, so that I can gauge what is happening and if it's working or not. Ooh. I am not used to this. Okay. I think it might look better like this. It feels cleaner. Feels cleaner. I'm going to add a slight bit of warmer tone. And maybe a little bit of highlight. Ugh, no, that won't work. I'm trying to make the chest not look too plasticky. That's gonna be a challenge. Maybe I need more contrast. So I'm just figuring that out. Okay, I think this is going in the right direction. Something like that. Using the lasso tool and the airbrush, I want to just do a quick belly button right here. Might need to lower it, but I wanted to put in a belly button. Okay. Let's go with this. And then we'll quickly render out the top as well, or blend it out with the same shading patterns, more or less. Although I think I might need to change some of this shading patterns. Actually, I kind of like it a little bit darker, like this. And then have the highlight on the other side to be brighter. Okay, that's not too bad. And maybe I would like to add a slight bit of grass green as well. Make it a little darker on the other side. Create a new layer. And grab this color. Let's bring it up a bit. I mean, bring up the darkness, sorry. Making it a little brighter. And then putting it on the bottom. Ooh, okay. This is looking a little satiny, which is not too bad. It's pretty good. Also, I finally found a good mic. It's actually like a vlogging mic, and I'm going to be using that for voiceovers since it does seem to have clearer clear, yeah, better audio. So it's about time, right, guys? I think a lot of you are probably thinking that as well. So hopefully with the new mic, my voice won't be as muffled or anything. Hopefully it'll be more clear too. Okay. So yeah, this is the new version. Let me just do this real quick. I'm copying the whole layer and then merging everything down so I can do like a little before and after. So this is before and this is after. I think after is a cleaner. So I will go with the after version, which is good because I like I like it when I do something new and it looks better than the old version. Okay, with that I will also add a bit of shadow to some parts and even changing the tone slightly. Merge down. Okay, onto the other part of her arm. What is this? Okay, I'm going to remove that part real quick. Back to rendering the arm part. I guess it's not too much detail, so doesn't require too much time. Go in with a shadow and then I'm going to just shade it up. Same with the knot here. We have to clean it up slowly. So I am going on a refining spree. There we go. Copy, paste. Trying to make the shadow a little bit darker. Lower it. Go in with airbrush. Let's do a little bit of blue on the side, merge down. Alright. Now that that's done, let's go. I'm thinking of rendering the skin uh, with minimal contrast, not putting too much contrast into the skin, but for the clothing, I'll still be rendering it a bit more 3D like. Hopefully that goes well for me. Next up is the glove. I mean, I like that latex look, so I'll probably be giving the glove a bit of sheen. Grab the blue, put it right where the elbow is at. Get that rim light underneath. Get a bit of blue in there, environmental color. Since her glove is got a sheen to it and a reflective surface, we're going to reflect a little bit of the sky in the glove. And hopefully that's gonna read like a different material. I'm going to use the lasso tool to help me accentuate the top portion of the glove. I kind of don't like it as much as I thought I would. We'll figure out something. Probably because the lines are really messy. Let's go here, color. Merge down. go into, okay, the leg now. I'm going to use multiply. Let's add a bit of green. Merge down, create a new layer. Copy paste. Do that. Flip it real quick. I want to see if that is looking good or not. I think it looks good. Okay, after confirming it looks good, I'm going to blend it in. Blend it in slash render it a bit more. I could probably add a little bit of this color down here too in on her. What is this muscle called? Her leg muscle. But yeah, let's add a little bit onto her leg. I'm going to add some highlight underneath. Bring it into the other leg. Do a little before and after just to see if everything's good. Okay, everything's good. Merge down. I guess I could keep some parts messy and then some parts a bit more refined. Overlapping, I mean, covering up the highlight for the drape with this different color. And then as for the glove, I'm thinking maybe we can make the glove like darker or maybe lighter. I know she doesn't have gloves, but what she does have is wristbands, and those wristbands are a lot lighter. But I mean, yeah, it's like this bright. But I usually like it when the gloves are darker. Looks good with black glove. Yeah. She looked good with black glove, so we'll go with that, even though it is not the color scheme. But it looks good, and people will still be able to tell it's akali because of the hair. And there's a lot of freedom that I can have if the character is iconic enough with just hair alone. And you can really go crazy with the outfits and change it up a lot more. But you know, some characters, they're kind of like unrecognizable if you don't give them the whole outfit. And that is a little bit tougher to play around with. So now I am just shading the fingers. Let's see. I don't know how render I want to make these fingers. I could be lazy. Should I though? Should I? Okay. And then last but not least, I'm gonna give her some fingernails. Maybe I can just give her some nail polish. That's like a really easy way of painting fingernails. um, the transparent, I mean the non-nail polish fingernails are harder to draw. Because with, nail polish, you can just like put a flat color, put a thin line of highlight, and you're done. Unless you want to put more time into it. but usually I'm pretty lazy, so I'll just do that. That's like the bare minimum you can do and still look decent from far away. Okay, blocking the highlights for the fingers. Done. So now, actually, we've neglected the rope part. So I will do the rope part. Now let's add a bit of shadow in some of these areas and then blend it. Oh, it's so messy down here. Let's grab this. Grab that and put it down. There we go. Okay, starting to get there. And then now time for the big rope. I'll do this actually. I'll just select the middle, darken it, and then blend. And then I have to cover up those missing pixels, missing patches. Quick blend. Waiting for the autosave again. I'm going to select just this one alone and make it a little darker. Going back again, selecting the very top, making it brighter like that. Cover up the missing pixels. Alright, so now where's the bag? So for the bag, using the lasso tool, making that darker, and then we'll make that side darker as well. Locking the layer, grab this color, and then we'll just shade it. Zoom out. Put a bit more color up top. I want it to be a little darker. Let's make it a little darker. Switch up the tone slightly. Like that. And then moving on to the face. Okay, the face. I'm gonna bring down the eye line art so we can incorporate that into the blending. And we're going to just kind of bring the whatever we got in the body parts in the colors that we've established on the body, and we're going to bring it up into the face itself. Let's see if I can keep this looking interesting. go for a sultry look. Add a little bit of highlight towards the bottom. I'll probably move the eyes around later as well. The face looks a little bit crooked, but that's okay. That's okay. We have it on a separate layer so we can move it around after this part. Let's go for a very trying to emulate that look. Well, I guess it's like my usual style, the original semi-realism style nose. I want to kind of move her face over a little bit, so I can do that by, I'm going to copy this. Use the liquify tool and just moving her face over there a little bit. There we go. That looks much better. Flip it again. And overall, just moving her face around. Still keeping that cat eye though. Okay. And looking at the small preview to make sure it makes sense. Okay. Still looking like it makes sense. Although I think her face could be better. I just have to play around with the shading until I like it. Maybe I could have her hair closer to her face. I think that might work better. But anyways, I'm gonna merge down now. Welcome back, guys. So I went ahead and blurred the background because the pixelation was kind of distracting me. So I went ahead and blurred it for now. I might come back to it and do something with the background later. But for now, after we blurred it, I also ended up resizing the head down a little bit so it's not as big. And basically from this point on, we are going to be moving things around and refining stuff as well. So let's get started. I wonder what I'm gonna do first. Let's go ahead and render out the head a little bit. So the hair, as you can see, since I resized it, some parts of the hair is kind of missing, so we're gonna go ahead and fill that in again. I'm going to use the pen tool and just quickly fill in those space. And also the face is missing some pixels as well, and the neck too. So we are going to fill all those in. Okay, so that's done. Lock it in. So now I'm going to work on the hair. Let's try to do this. So I'm going to grab the pen tool still and turn down the opacity slightly. Let's try this option. Okay, so this is what that's looking like. It's kind of like the solid round brush in Photoshop. So I'm just gonna be using this brush to do the hair. It looks kind of messy. I wonder if there's a way I can blend it somehow. Not not sure if they have like a option for that. Let's see what the setting for this is. Okay. Uh, what's this? Let's try it. What is this? So I have not used this brush, but okay, so this brush reminds me of the watercolor brush in the Paint Tool Sai. It's very interesting. Okay, that's pretty good. This brush is pretty good in Paint Tool Sai, so I'm happy that I can find something similar in Clip Studio. So there's just one more brush that I would like to find in clip art. That's the pencil brush from Paint Tool Sai, which does a pretty good job at rendering hair. Oh, this kind of does a really cool job at blending. It creates a nice painterly texture, which, you know, in certain styles fits pretty well, I would say. Okay, I will keep my eyes on this brush. I guess for now we could just use it and see how this brush will do with the rest of her hair. So let's test it out. I guess I'll be alternating between large brush strokes and smaller ones, depending on how texture I want it to look, I guess. Because if I use a smaller brush, I find that it tends to create more texture, and bigger brush is good for blending. But yeah, it's looking kind of cool actually. If we zoom out a little bit, it's creating some nice texture. Let's see where we can take this. So the texture is nice, but how about we add some more contrast into the mix? So I will select parts of the hair and basically just darken it up more. And then we are going to use the same brush and see how well it blends. Oh, forgot to do this. Okay, let's see. Okay, it blends pretty well. Still has a cool texture and stuff. It's making things look messy, but it also helps create that texture, the hair texture. If it doesn't create the hair texture, it definitely does create some sort of texture to make the piece feel a bit more alive, I guess. I mean, I'm in the phase of experimenting. You can only do so many super rendered pieces before you get bored. But yeah, it's good to try new things because you never know. You might like the new tool you find or the new tool that you just tried. Okay, so now that we have done that, I'm going to go ahead, create a new layer. I'm going to move on to the airbrush and I just want to bring in just a dab of warm tone inside the hair somehow, especially inside the shadow parts of the hair. So we are gonna do that. Okay, that part might be a bit too obvious, but we'll just put it on, and then if it's too much, I can easily remove it. Alright, so there we go. We added a little bit of warm tone, which does help balance out the hair. Okay, so I'm happy with it. I'm gonna merge everything down. Obviously, it's looking pretty rough, but I like it. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see if we can put some extra detail. So I use the lasso tool to block in that area so that I can kind of do like a little shiny hair pull. This is definitely reminding me of the paint tool side brush, and also reminds me a little bit of the solid round brush, but this one has more blending options, like it blends better. So let's move on to this now. Let's add a little bit of shine here, and then, oh, hold on. Let's use the lasso tool, isolate, so that I can add some shine to the hair. Okay, looks kind of rough again. I'm still trying to figure out how can I use this? I mean, how can I incorporate it into my usual workflow? I like the texture, but I think it could do better. So we'll zoom out real quick and you can kind of see what that looked like, what I just did. Added a bit more shine. Grab this. Let's zoom out here. Okay, I kind of like how it was before, so I'm gonna go back. So I'm gonna merge down, and then we're gonna do the opposite and grab some highlight. So I will be selecting the top portion of her hair, well, certain parts of it, and then make it a little brighter, but probably not too bright, because let's change up the tone a little bit. Let's go for like a warm tone. Like this, and then I'll just tone it down. Flip it. And then we shall do the same thing again. Oh wait, hold on. I need a new layer for this. Let's do it this way. Okay. Let's try some other brushes. Oh, what about this one? Okay, this one is similar. But I guess you have to be a little bit careful because the opacity is quite strong in this. So there's not a lot of like pen pressure going on here. But it's not a bad thing. Let's try watercolor rush. What is this? Okay, this one is kind of nice. It's the same with a bit of hairbrush texture, which could be good. Okay. And I know you can make your own brushes in this program, so if you don't like any of the pre-made ones, you can definitely learn to make your own brush. I should probably do that at some point when I get around to it. So, with a little bit more, it looks like this now. This is, yeah, it's very painterly compared to what I usually do, which is kind of refreshing, you could say. Although I think some people might say it's like a downgrade from my usual rendering. I would probably render this out a lot more if I were to do like a more realistic rendering, but this is nice too. It's really up to you, whatever you feel like. Okay, let's go with this. Let's see if I can like intensify this a bit more. Yeah, let's go with that. See where we can take this. Maybe it can add some character to our piece. Okay, back to the eyes. So I'm gonna create a new layer and let's use airbrush. Airbrush is good for precision, work, predictability too. The other brushes are very like blendy, so it's hard to control sometimes. So we shall stick with airbrush and then we'll just slowly render it. And we're gonna do the usual. This is not the cartoon style, so we can put a bit more detail into it, like the lower lid and the waterline and whatnot. Some eyelashes too. With the comic style, sometimes, like eyelashes don't really fit into some of those art styles. But with this, I can put as much eyelashes as I want. And I have to make sure to kind of keep that cat eye look that Akali has. So if I like look at her 3D model, yeah, that's very obvious, which I am using her in-game model as a reference. They did a good job on that skin, that texture on her eye. So I will just do that myself. I did kind of change up her eyebrows a bit. It's a little curved on the game model. I like to, but mine I kept her eyebrows very like slanted and stuff to enhance that cat eye look. Next, I'll work on her nose. So the in-game model, her face is covered up and stuff, so this is kind of like my go-to face, so let's make it happen for her. The idea is that she's gonna have like a pissed off expression or something like that. I'm gonna paint over her face with a mask later as well. So let's give her a little bit of a angry eyebrow. I think her eyebrows a bit too slanted, a little too slanted. I'm just looking at the balance of her eyebrow shape, yeah, and maybe a little less dark. I think I might have to play around with her eyebrows. Let's go ahead and merge everything down, and then I can basically copy that part, and I can play with the play with her eyes shape and stuff now. I brought up her eyebrows a little bit so I can curve it. Okay. Let's go ahead and sculpt out a nose for her. Maybe a little emphasize on her cheek. Let's try to bring in her face a little bit by adding shadow here, so her face look thinner. Let's try to... Oh, hold on. Let's try to bring this eye closer. Okay, I might need to move the other eye now. Because I made this eye. I moved this eye, so now I have to fix the other eye. And also want her to look a little bit upwards. Like at the audience and stuff. We'll bring this like that. And I'm going to... Let's go back to this eye shape. Okay, I think I need to fix the face somehow. I'm trying to figure out why it's not looking good. Probably the shading doesn't make any sense. So, let's try to see what we could do. Okay, so I'm going to put the whole face in shadow. Let's rework the lighting, I guess. So whole face in shadow. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of highlight coming from the bottom as her arm, which is very bright, catching all that sunlight, reflects some highlight onto her face. The bottom of her nose perhaps too, and then under the eyebrows. And if that's the case, then this part will probably have a bit of shadow too. That nose is catching some. I think that actually makes a bit more sense. And then I'll just add a little bit of shading for the nostrils. Grab a bit of this highlight, actually bring it up into the brow bone. And then we are gonna have some light source from the top of her head. Her forehead is gonna catch some of that lighting. And then add back some lipstick. I mean, you can't really see her face, so who knows what's going on her lips. Guess I can experiment with a different shade of red on her lips. I'm still gonna add some drop down shadow from the hair. Let's go ahead onto the hair layer. And I'm just going to sort of like move her hair around. Don't want it to block her eye, or actually no, I don't want it to block her pupil specifically. I want to move this over using the liquify tool. I am moving her hair strand around. Oh god, it looks so wobbly. I might as well just redo it. And then I want to move her hair closer to her face. Okay, looking a little wobbly. I'm gonna go ahead and fill in some of the face. Okay. So let me just copy that. So this is before, this is after. Well, there's certainly parts of the before that I like, and parts of the after that I like. So maybe I can do like an in-between somehow. So let's go ahead and see if we can do like a mix of both. Copy the old one onto the new one. Lower the opacity. And I'll use the erase tool. Erase it up a bit. The face is kind of flat looking, but I kind of like it. So we're gonna keep it. We are going to keep it, and at the same time, we are going to try adding back that forehead highlight somehow. Hopefully it fits. I think only the forehead. Maybe I'll just have that, and then maybe a little bit of cheek highlight here. Actually, should I do like this? Actually, it kind of looks good from afar, but up close, I think I need to figure it out somehow. So if I look at the small preview here, the lighting looks kind of cool. But zoomed in, obviously, we need to figure out placement for this highlight properly. So slowly, I'm going to work towards it somehow. Slowly but surely, I'm going to remove parts of it and sort of just blend it back into her face somehow. Okay, still looking good from afar, but up close, it has not been figured out. So, yeah, we'll just keep at it for a bit until I like where this is going. Actually, let's go ahead and make a new layer, and I can start adding in some variety of tones in her face, like pinks and maybe like peach and that type, like blush and stuff. And maybe a little blush on her nose. I'm gonna try to go with orange for the nose. Let's go ahead, grab this color. I want to add some shadow near her cheek. And we are just going to highlight around that eye. Flip it. Well, okay, I think I'm figuring it out. It's not there yet. I'm just looking back and forth at the preview here. Not there yet. So let's blend this out. Let's add some blue here. Figure out this eye shape. I'm gonna sharpen it. Okay, kind of made it. I need to bring back a bit of the Asian eye shape. Not enough. Not enough of that look. I'm just adjusting the eyes now. I'm going to adjust the other eye. The other eye looks good. I just need to make this eye have that same vibe. Probably also need to move the eyebrows around and then reduce the amount of puffiness under her eyes. Let's go ahead and sharpen up that highlight, that cheek definition highlight. Add the shading for the lips. Finish the eyes. Let's give a slight bit of highlight. Bring down the eyelid for a more sultry look. Let's go ahead and add some lashes. Probably sharpen up some of those details. Okay, so I'm going to actually, let's go ahead and I'm gonna copy a bit of the old face, put it on the new face, lower the opacity. I kind of like some of that, some of what I had before, so it's gonna be a lot of like back and forth, but yeah, it's getting there. Okay. Just looking at the small preview and I kind of like this version. I guess what I liked about it was the eye part, the shadow really, in this area in particular. So I'll just keep that part. Okay, merge down. So this is the new face. The face took a while, but faces usually takes a while for me. And then we're gonna move on back down to the body, and since we have a slight different tone in the face, like it's a little brighter, so we're gonna have to adjust the body to that contrast. Let's start off with her hands. Okay, here we go. First thing, I think I'll just sort of change up the color to match her face. So I just remove some of the yellow tone and then I'm going to go in with screen. Let's use the airbrush and I'm just going to basically brighten the area that's already in highlight, but we just want to increase it more and then add a little bit of that. And then I'll merge everything down and I'm going to start blending. Blend the fingers. Grab this. Oh gosh, okay. I'll just blend that in. There we go. And I'm going to, okay, take the lines. I guess I'll fix some of them. I wonder if it's worth it to kind of still line it. I'll just line it like that. And I'm going to start just fixing up the shape a bit. Make the shape a bit better. Bring up the arm. I want to still make her arm look nice and toned, so we're going to move it around. Move it around and also fixing the missing pixels. Okay. So since I moved the body, the head is now missing parts because I did not paint that part. But what I could do, I'll just bring up her whole torso. Yeah, bring up the torso. And yeah, just adjusting while I go along. Okay, now I'm going to add in a little bit of detail on her top. Because she does have a little bit of a pattern going on. I mean, there is some border design. Yeah, border for her top. Like there. So I'll just add it. And I believe there's an extra part that goes like this. After I do that, I can also clean it up because it's a bit more obvious. Bring up the skin and then go back to the line art. I'm gonna see if, do I even need to redo the line art? Maybe it's better to not do the line art at all. I mean, having the line art does help though. I'll try to give a little bit of line art. And also cleaning up this part. This part. Fixing the armpit on this side and also the arm. Go back to this green seam so that I can start adding in some details. I'm going to fix the placement here. I can also fix the placement in the other area, and then we're just gonna do this until, okay, everything looks pretty good. Now, I'm going to put it in multiply, and we are going to shade it so that it follows the shadow that we have already. Oh, okay, here we go. Okay, the program did a little autosave. I'm just going to next grab the parts that are supposed to be in highlight, make it brighter, merge down. Okay, just going through the rest of her. Next up is her elbow. And maybe on top of here. Basically, I just need to make it a little brighter. Copy paste. Make it a little brighter, similar to the brightness of her face, so that it matches up and stuff. After that's done, I just go back and erase bits of it, blend it in, what have you. I'm going to go back with the airbrush. See what I can do. Oh, whoops. Wrong layer mode or brush mode. And I think I need a darker border like that. Let's try to render out that armpit part. I'm going to take note of the face, trying to match up to it. Add a little bit of warm tone. Actually, no, kinda don't like how I rendered it. I need to emphasize a bit of the muscle. Yeah, like that. Looking at the small preview while I do this, making sure everything's good. I don't know how I'm going to do this part. Might be too exposed. So I have to think about something. Yeah, I think it might be too exposed. Or it needs to move over a bit more. Okay, I'm just gonna select this whole part, and then we will move it over a bit. Yeah, I think that looks better. I'm just trying to see what the limit is. Let's bring this in a bit. Actually, no, forget that part. Let's work on the chest first. Definitely need to move it for sure. But to what extent, that's the question. Okay, let's try to render this out a bit. Add a bit of this part here, the armpit line, or I don't know what that's called. Okay. If I move the chest over like this, we're going to have to also just change up the placement for the rope. We have to tuck it under like this. Okay, I think that looks better. Need to edit and re-enhance some of the parts before, after. Actually, I didn't change the placement too much. Okay, yeah, I think that looks better. Moving it all the way there. I'm going to go ahead and do this now. I want to tuck that rope or bring it up. Up. There we go. Up against the chest, but okay. Let's go back to here. Let's see. If I added some implied detail of rib cages, how will that look? But I think, yeah, moving it definitely look better, but you know, still not sure. Even after I made the change, I mean, I still kind of like how this looked. So let's go back, copy a little bit of before, put it on top, and see what we could do here. Yeah. Let's go with this. let's go with that. Let's copy everything again. And this time I want to move this part over. Oh, move over a little bit. Oh, no, actually, no, can't do that. How about, okay, hold on. How about I move this part? Nope, 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 nope. How about this part? Nope. Okay. Let's tuck this in then. I'm just trying everything I can think of. Okay, never mind. Wasn't really feeling it, sadly. Create a new layer. I'm going to try something here. Let's bring the boob line like this. Like as if it's... would that even make sense? I have a general idea of how it should look like, but no actual real reference. So this part's got me stomped. Oh, whoops. What is that? Let's go ahead, flip it back. Merge down. Okay. Let's do this. How about this? If I move the whole part, the whole chest over, like that. Yeah, that might work. And then I'll move this in a bit. Okay, I think that just does it. But now the issue is, the whole point was to have her chest leaning on the weapon. I mean, can I even, like, okay, can I just do this? Oh, it doesn't look as good. Okay, I'll figure something out, I guess. I can still do it. I just have to do it. I just have to bring this curve and then move it all the way here. And that means I have to adjust the lines. Move it over like that, and then we'll just make the changes that way. Maybe it's gonna look better like this anyways. I'm going to use the airbrush and kind of just airbrush a bit of blue on top. Get a bit of that soft fabric feel. Let's add some soft fold. Okay, let's add a tiny bit of highlight. Okay. And I'm going to use the lasso tool, help me with shading this part. Okay, merge down. And then let's go ahead, work on the rope. The rope is quite deformed after what we just did there. I'll just render it, even though it doesn't really match the line art very much. There we go. I wonder how it will look if the rope was darker too. Doesn't really make much difference, so I'll just leave the color as it is. What is this line right here? I'm not sure. Oh, okay, this is the boob line, but we don't need it anymore, so I'm just going to remove it. Okay, everything else is good. So the top has been worked on. I'm going to merge down now. After I merge down, let me clean up this part. Go back into glove, fix that up, and fix this part too. Basically, I'm just trying to clean things up. Add a tiny bit of sheen, but it doesn't look like it works very well for her glove, so I'll just remove it. Sometimes shiny doesn't work. I mean, doesn't add to the piece itself, so I'll just remove it. Okay. Let's do it like this, and then maybe we'll make it dark underneath like this. It looks better without the rim light, so yeah. Rim light doesn't always look good too. Sometimes it looks better without it. I'm just going through everything and testing stuff out. Let's go ahead, make this a little brighter. Maybe make that part brighter too. Okay. Let's add some detailing seams around the glove, this color. And maybe here too. Actually, nah, not there. But maybe here. Let's try it out. Eh. I mean, it doesn't impede the design. So, yeah, why not? We'll add like a wristband around here. Yeah. Oh, actually. Oh. I know she has her glove like extended and cover one finger till here. So let's just go ahead and do that. Go back to this. And I'm just gonna cover it up like that. There we go. And after I do that, I go in and add the highlight. Add the highlight, maybe a little bit of texture. And I can basically keep it like this. Maybe I'll do a bit of, just a tiny bit of rendering. Keep it kind of rough like this. Okay. After we'll merge it down, and then onto the drape. Let's add a little bit of highlight towards the top. And then we'll create a new layer and add the seam once again, because this grass green seam goes around her outfit. So we are going to add that in as well, so that her outfit is more cohesive. That's like one of the things that that your seniors might tell you, and if you work in the industry, it's just to have repetitive designs for that cohesive look. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to turn down the opacity and then add shadow into the seam. Merge down. Oh wait, is it? Okay, good. And then I'm going to go into the knot, and let's see what we could do. Maybe if I add a little bit of texture like this, it's gonna help the rope look more textured. Okay, I kind of like it. It does make the texture look better, I would say. I guess I'll do that to this too. Okay. Let's go ahead and do some more moving around. Move that around, and then I want to move this around too. So we are going to move this up. Okay, next up, I just want to move this closer to the shoe, like that. Okay. All right. I think we did some good fixing up. Oh, yeah, it's getting there. Definitely, it's gonna feel a bit more put together after the background fix. Maybe move the rope. Maybe I should definitely fix the rope up a bit by creating more shape to it. fixing the bag. And then fix the weapon. But yeah, it's getting there. I kind of want to see how it would look if I made the head just a little bit smaller. Make the head bigger and then the body. I mean, make the head smaller and the body bigger in certain areas. I'm just going to move her. Oh, wait, hold on. Move the whole body up. Move the body up and then I will use the warp tool and then bring her legs down and maybe make it a little longer maybe. And then I have to figure out, or not figure out, but basically clean up this part right here. Fix the curvature of her arm. It's not quite right. Maybe I'll just use the lasso tool and just do a delete. Nope, that's not it. Okay, I'll just take off a bit there. Take off a bit here. And oh, wait. Move this in a bit. I'm gonna have to do that a little bit later, but yeah, it's getting there. Welcome back, guys. I didn't really do too much. I think I did play around with the waist a little bit. I pushed her stomach inward so that I can achieve this really intense S curve for her. Although I'm not too sure if I should kind of tone it down or not. So I'm gonna just try a few things here. Lowering the belly button first. And then I wanted to try to kind of just move her waist. Oh wait, hold on, yeah. Move her waist like this. To fit her hip ratio. Wow, okay. Maybe I should lower the belly button a bit more if I were to do that. Or even actually lift her leg up. Let's go with this. Let's go with this for now. Okay. Well, this isn't really a serious pinup. So, I mean, the anatomy is a little bit interpretive here. What I'm looking for is the shape and how it flows. Okay, we can try to push up the leg. Okay, I think that works. That actually makes her look, well, makes her hip area look a little less crazy. Okay, let's go with that. So I did move up her legs. So what we're gonna do now is I'm going to just make her a little bit bigger so that I don't have to paint feet. There we go. And she's a little bigger in the canvas as well, which is always good. Okay, next we are going to try to tackle this weapon of hers. So it is a modified version of her weapon. But I mean, I kind of want to try a different format. Oh, this one might look a little weird. So it goes like this. So this part ends up over here. And then, hold on, like that. My guys, okay, if I do it like that, it looks like an axe instead. Let's try it out. I'm kind of trying to get it to look a little bit closer to her actual weapon, but this does not. Oh, I know why. The curve is wrong. Oh, just, if I move it like that. Oh, this is tricky. So the hilt is gonna curve this way. And then it goes like this. Okay. You know what? I think I'm going to... that's the reference photo that I have on the side. We're just going to see if this actually works. Copy. There we go. So this is actually her weapon. It's a 3D model of the in-game of her weapon, and we are going to test it out, see if it will work or not. So really I'm just playing with the blade part. Hopefully I'll be able to make it make sense. I mean, I guess if I make the hilt, the stem part longer, it's not gonna really look like her usual weapon. But yeah, actually this might work. So we'll go with that. I'm just going to incorporate this with the weapon. So we'll have this, oh shoot. We'll have this lower. And then bring the stem up. I'll have to kind of clean up the top part later, but let's do it like this. Okay, that's not too bad. Well, it's better than what I had before, right? So we'll go with that. It's just a longer stem is all. I would like to elongate this part just a tad. Alright, so this is my weapon. And I'm going to extend the the handle part made out of weave and stuff, I think. And we'll just bring it up. Oh wait, hold on, that might be a bit too stretched out. We don't want to stretch out the texture too much. I would like to reuse it, and I'm going to paint over it, but having a bit of texture underneath would be good. So I'll just copy that, stretch it out a few times, merge down. Okay, so now we have our weapon. I'm going to create a mask after, but this is what we have so far. Obviously, since it is a very small image and I stretched the hell out of it, it is pixelated. I'm just going to go ahead and clean up the silhouette. Sometimes I'm lazy and I don't really. There's filters in Photoshop that can kind of smooth it out at the expense of removing details. But I don't think Clip Studio has the same filters, so we're just gonna do the old classic paint over. Oh, okay, there we go. And I'll just also at the same time clean up the silhouette. Okay, and then the stem gonna go into her hands, but I'm not gonna render it just yet. So we have a slightly cleaner silhouette. Lock it in, and then create a new layer, and from here I'm going to paint over it. I'm just going to reuse the same colors that's in the photo here, the screenshot photo here, and we are just going to think about the lighting and redo the lighting according to the rest of the pinup. So the lighting's coming from above, and we're going to focus most of the lighting towards the top portion, and then probably remove some of this shine, add in some shiny texture for the blade. I'm going to have to redistribute some of this blade. I mean, extending it a little bit. There's some empty space on the side there that needs to be covered up. Using the lasso tool and then blending brushes or airbrush, both work. Painting over this. And basically just making things neater. Okay. There we go. Flip. I'm going to zoom out. This is before the paint over, after, and we're just gonna keep at it. Let's see if I can do something here. Although I do like the pattern, but can I make it better? if I paint over a little bit and then add some implied shine using the airbrush. Okay, now I'm going to move this over, and then we are going to work on this part of it. With the texture underneath, I can do some scribbles, and hopefully it's going to have a nice texture and won't look too pixelated. I mean, it's not too bad. Extending all the way up and then onto the opposite side, all the way down. Basically just trying to paint over a little bit, add some more texture, covering up the pixelatedness of it. There we go. Actually not merged down yet. Let's go ahead and do the hilt. So I will be borrowing some colors from down here, bringing it up here. And okay, we'll just leave it like that for now. After I cut out the hands to overlap onto the hilt, then I think it'll be easier for me to finish up this weapon here. Okay, so the weapon is looking decent. Could use a bit more work, but overall, it's getting there. There are some areas that is a little bit muddy that needs to be cleaned up, more or less. I'll try to get to those areas and clean them up though. Okay, so now that that's done, we are going to go ahead and mask it. So I'll just lower the opacity so I can see underneath, and I'm going to cut out all the areas where I want the character to overlap on top of the weapon, which is mainly the hand and a little bit of the chest. Oh, and also the leg as well, so I have to do the leg part. There we go. And with that, okay, that's looking much better. Maybe I went a little bit too much with the chest area, so I'm going to tone it down a little bit. Go back to the weapon. So now that the mask is on, I can properly shade it with the character interaction in mind. So maybe I'll have a little bit more shadow around this area because it is touching her. So we get a little shadow there, and then maybe some shadow close to her hand area. Actually, should I also do the elbow? No, I won't do the elbow. Okay. But other than that, we can just kind of shade this with the characters in interaction in mind. Let's add a little bit of shine here. Maybe down here too. as it catches some nice highlight on the very tip of her blade. Okay, so that works. Let's go ahead and flip. And so I did the weapon. Now I have to go back to the character and sort of clean up the glove area. So some of the areas need to be covered up or redone because now the weapon hilt is not as thick as it was and it's not hiding as much of what's underneath. And on top of that, I think I will also try to fix the lines. It's a little messy, but we'll try to clean it up as much as we can. Let's go here. Let's go to the glove area and do a little wrinkling, folds in the fabric, blend those in. Oh, looks a little bit too poofy here. I will try to reduce that curve. So I'll just use the liquify tool, bring down the curvature of her arm. I also want to fix this. I'm just selecting it and then pushing the pixel inwards. Or, I mean, you could also delete those areas. It's really up to you. I want to kind of fix the arm silhouette here. Need to bring this out. Flip. Okay. So the curvature of the glove here is not wrapped around her arm anatomy as much as I would like, so I'm trying to make it curve more to wrap around her arm like a cylinder or something like that. So we're gonna get a peek of her skin there. I'm going to tuck this part in. Okay, I think that looks fine. Could be better for sure, but this is good enough. Sometimes it's good to, I guess nowadays it's better to leave some you know, some weird looking parts or mistakes in your art and not make it perfectly rendered and stuff. There we go. That's better. Okay, now I want to see if I can enhance those areas. Merge down. And then I'm going to jump back onto the face because I think I need to fix the hair. That's one thing. fix the hair. I'm going to add a few more pixels. I mean, few more areas to the hair. Okay. Merge down the face, create a new layer. I'm just going to cover up her lip part or fill those areas in. I'm going to blend down the under her lips. I am trying to go for like a pouty lip because she looks going for that upset look. I'm going to flip the canvas once again. We'll just gently blend this in, do a little before and after. See if that is looking good or not, and also looking at the small preview to make sure that I'm on the right track. Let's blend her nose a bit more. And then the lips. I'm going to add a little highlight onto the other side of her face and see how that looks. I'll cover it up. It doesn't look as good as I'd hoped for. I want to add some shadow underneath her eye though. And maybe I'm gonna create a new layer and call it blush. We'll add like a little blush on her. Oh, she look a little drunk with the blush. Okay. I'm going to erase this part here. Or at least remove the shadow underneath her eyes because it's not doing much for her. Let's try adding some shadow in this spot in particular. And then I'll try to slowly add in some shadow underneath her eyes. And then I have to brighten it up because it's looking a little dark. So we'll just try a bunch of stuff. On her face, do a little before and after. I mean, it's not bad, so let's go with it. Could be worse. Alright, so her face is good to go. In the blush, it's okay. It's an okay blush. Doesn't add too much, but if it's not making it look bad, we'll just keep it there. Okay. I like to do a little toggle on and off before I merge down because you never know. I might change my mind later. Well, it's too late. I merged it already. Now I'm going to just put a bit more detail in her eye. Looking at the in-game model, pretty standard eyeball. pretty standard pupil, I mean. Just, we got the pupil, and then we have a highlight inside the eye. There's a few ways to paint the eyes, but this is how her eye look in game, so we can try it out. Her eyes is a warm tone, so that means she's a prime candidate for a little bit of blue in her eye, especially with like warm tone eye colors. It's harder to do this to like a cool tone eye color like blue or something like that, because you won't be able to see it, but yeah. Add a little blue. I removed the highlight inside her eye. Let's try several placement for the highlight. So we could put it, inside this part, which, can work pretty good. There's another option. You can put it on the side, and sometimes that'll give different results. 2 dots. Or you can do 3 dots for more shininess, I guess. But yeah, it's really up to you. Different highlight placement means different type of feel in the eyes. Maybe we can do like all of them. So something like that. And this is a bit more semi-realistic, I find. And sometimes I prefer it without the light too, depending on the mood of the character. I'm going to integrate her hair into her scalp a bit more. I'll just do these little hair strands. Actually, maybe I need to add a little bit more up top here. Okay, yeah, that actually looks a little better. Merge down, and then I'm going to sort of see if I can enhance her expression a bit more. And I also wanted to see how it would look if I played around with her nose a bit. Maybe bring it up. And now let's work on the ear. I don't think she has any earrings. Does she? No, she doesn't. I could probably give her some, but let's just keep it like that for now. And then I'm going to render the hair tie, add some more shadow and stuff, and then also fill this part in. Let's go ahead and do this. And then I'm gonna take a bit of the environment color and add it into the hair tie. Now time to reduce the look of the lines. Oh, whoops. I'll just pick a slightly darker color than the shadow and then use it on the tie, and that should ease up on the harshness of the lines. Also want to clean up some of the lines and fill in some of the gaps in the hair. Flip her once again. Okay, now I'm just trying to figure out the face. See what else I can do to make her face better looking. Let's remove that for a bit. I'm going to see if I can round her face out and probably also add more drop down shadow from the hair onto her skin. Onto her face. Let's add some here. Let's add some drop down shadow from the side. Let me zoom out. Let's do a little before and after. And I'm going to bring back this highlight right here. I think I might need to move the mouth over a bit and then make it a little darker too. Trying to render out her mouth. And I'm going to make this eye bigger. Make it bigger and move it closer like this. Right, so I made the face slightly thinner because of the shadow I put around her face. Um, I still kind of like the lips before, so I'll just copy the before lips, put it on the after lips, lower the opacity. Actually, should I even lower it? I'm trying to figure out what combination I like best. I guess I'll go with this. After that, enhance the nose silhouette. Add some highlight underneath the eyes. Once again, let's try this. Try this again. Bring up the highlight. Nope. Okay. Let's do that again. Copy this whole part, and then I'm going to bring it up. Looking at the small preview while I do this. Uh, she looked like she has chipmunk cheeks if I do it like that. If I brought the highlight all the way down. Okay. Let's add a bring the shadow in a bit. Add the highlight and then blush. I thought I was gonna like this shadow underneath her eye, but it's not really working out all too well. I might have to remove it. Let's add some highlight here. Some light shadow around the nose. Maybe this will look better. I think it looks cleaner at least. I'll just clean this part up. Let's see if I can at least add a bit of a harsh drop down shadow on the side. Let's merge down maybe? Before, after. Let's put the blush and then the highlights for the eyes. Yeah, this looks better. Okay, before I fuss over this a bit more, I'm going to go ahead and do the mask. Let's use the lasso tool. And we'll do like a mesh translucent mask. It's a little crooked. I can fix that later. Let's go ahead and add the seam up here. We'll just keep it simple. I know there's like a pattern on her mask, but if I put the pattern on, her face won't be able to show as well. Fixing the positioning for the mask now. Let's put it here underneath the hair. Flip it. So now that that's done, I'm going to paint, add some highlight. What else can I do? Actually, we'll just keep it simple like that. I'm gonna create a new layer. You know what? Create a new layer. Turn down the opacity slightly. And see if I can add some sort of detail to it. Hopefully this design won't be too distracting. So there's this pattern. And I could try to lower the opacity of this. Maybe I could remove this part. Or I could try to like add some fancy ornate border maybe, without having to touch the center of the mask itself. It's a little fancier. Yeah, let's go with that. I'm going to increase the greenness of the saturation. Sorry, saturation. Let me lower the mask. Okay. So now that that's done, I can kind of see how it looks with before, after. Maybe I could have a little bit of shadow. A little bit of shadow underneath her eyes. I think that's acceptable. Alright. So that should do it for this. I have my base all done. Gosh, I've neglected her toes so much. Let's go ahead. I'll try my best to work on her feet a little bit. Okay. Let's lower this first. And I'm going to try to switch up the shading slightly. So we'll have the highlight lowered, so more shadow. And then we are going to take the rim light and bring it down here. Like that. Let's add some folds. And I'll take a bit of the blue. Try to add a bit of shine to the sole of her shoe here. I also want to just bring up her leg silhouette up, and then go to the skin tone. And then I'm just going to paint in some toes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Hopefully I don't give her any extra toe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some implied toes. There we go. Now it's a little less awkward. And then next I have to work on the background. But yeah. Could probably finish it off with a bit of lighten, probably. Oh, actually, hold on. I could do this. Let's see. So let's enhance certain areas of the character. So I'll just select the area where I want to enhance mostly. We're going to start off with the shadow. So let's try these areas in particular. And then go to selection, or it was a layer. I think it's layer. New correction layer, and let's do brightness contrast. This enhances certain areas. This is pretty much the same as what I do in Photoshop. I've finally figured out where it was in this program. So yeah, after I have that, I can try to sort of ease it in. Oops. Okay, something like that. And after we do the shadow part, we can do the other parts. I just have to figure it out. How do I, uh, hmm. I kind of want to add some here. How do I add it? Uh, that's weird. Okay, here we go. I was like, why is it not applying to the rest of her? Okay. It's a little messier this way, as in the effect is being applied to literally everything underneath it. But after we're done, we're going to just merge this effect down with all the layers. So this is the first enhancement, enhancing the shadow. Well, parts of it at least, not all parts. And now we're going to enhance the highlight. So focusing on all the areas where I think is going to get hit the most. So that is on the shoulder, on the hands, and maybe on the chest partially. Probably not too much. I don't want to enhance her whole body with the highlight. Let's just try those areas for now. And we are gonna go brightness contrast. A simple brightness contrast. Brighten that up. And we can do a little before and after just to see like, oh, what kind of effect that did. It does, you know, create a more, does have more contrast, so it feels a bit more 3D like. So with the new enhancement, the highlight enhancement, I'm just going to apply it, blend it down. Only in certain areas. I think I would remove this, put it down here. I don't want it to apply to the weapon. Okay, so this is what we have now. I am next going to go erase some of the areas where I feel like it's too dark. Keep the highlighted area the same. Okay. Then I'm going to create a new layer. Let's do lighten, and this layer I'm just going to use to add some environmental color onto the character. Like that. And I'll just tone it down. Sometimes, usually I add a little too much, so I just tone it down. Let's add something to her hair. Okay. So now that that's done, I reduce it a little bit. And this is the final result. Let me add a bit of green down here, reflective from the ground itself on her legging. So let's do it again. So this is before the additional adjustments. I mean, I guess it does add a little bit more to it, but I guess depending on what you prefer, you might like the before version. So let's do it again. Before, after. So after doing that, I'm gonna fix a few areas. But overall, this works. I do think that her head needs her face needs a bit more adjustment. Hold on, let me mark that. I mean, it's okay. I think I want to add a bit more after this phase, but this is what we have. And basically, once you're satisfied with the adjustments that you've made, I'm just going to kind of take away some of this over here. After you're satisfied, it's time to apply it. So we're going to apply it to every single layer, basically. So paste, merge down, merge down, merge down, paste, merge down, merge down, merge down. So we're gonna do this to all the layers. But at least, it's not too bad. It's pretty fast. It goes by pretty fast because I can copy the state of the effects. So if the effects is clipped down, I can just copy that and it's going to clip down to all the layers automatically, which is great. In Photoshop, I'm unable to do this, at least with the older version. Haven't tried it with the new version. The new version just sitting there, not being touched. I should probably check it out. I should look into the new Photoshop. But yeah, so this is what we have after all of that. I hope you guys enjoy that, and I'll see you guys in the next voiceover. Have a great day or night, guys. Bye.